at Six Silver Seals, and welcome to Taurus season. I know that I'm a couple of days late, but I didn't want to wait for the new moon, which is tonight, to go ahead and talk to you a little bit about what you can expect from Taurus season, both in terms of astrology and in terms of a tarot draw, bringing some of those back to videos for you. Before we get started, I do want to remind you that the best way to get content from me is to head over to Patreon. You can subscribe there to the Night Sky newsletter, get monthly readings, get personalized horoscopes. It's patreon.com/sixsilverseals, and I really, really encourage you to go check it out. So, the sun has moved into Taurus, which starts Taurus season, and what that means is that things are going to slow down a little bit. Now, this is not all across the board, obviously, but you will notice that things kind of... We're leaving Aries behind, cardinal fire, very animated, hop to it, leap before you look kind of energy. Taurus is more... I don't want to say stagnant, that's the wrong word, but what we're really seeing here is kind of a not moving unless you have to, a certain implacability for Taurus, especially if you're a Taurus sun, because this is the energy which rules most of your day-to-day life. However, we also have the new moon very, very early. Like I said, Taurus just moved, the sun just moved into Taurus on Sunday, and now today, Wednesday, we have the new moon. So, like a really big time for new beginnings, but ones that are sort of... It's getting the foundation built, getting the groundwork done. A lot of this, if you've been following the videos I've posted in the past, comes from a lot of the energy that we got going with Aries, where we started something but just kind of let it ride out the rest of that very Aryan, fiery energy, because as we well know, Aries is notorious for starting things and not finishing them. So you have the sun in the new sign, followed by the new moon, and then just a couple hours into Thursday morning, really, really early, like 4:30 or so, Eastern time, the new moon will also conjunct Uranus in Taurus. And so it's not just a time of new beginnings, but it's a time of changes. Now, I realize that I said things were going to slow down. Things can slow down and change. Astrology is full of these apparent paradoxes, but keep in mind that it is participatory. You'll get out of it what you put into it. And then this is going to last obviously for a month before, late May comes and the sun moves into Gemini. When it does, that's going to be the end of a very brief period of slowness and relative stability. I won't say that things are actually stable given the current healthcare crisis, but relative stability. And relative slowness comes to an end, because then you have Gemini, mutable air, followed by Cancer, cardinal water, followed by Leo, fixed fire. Really, we're probably going to be proceeding at a pace that is, it's not obviously not as breakneck as Aries was, but it will be a little bit more speedy, probably up until the sun opposes its current position when it gets to Scorpio. But obviously, stay tuned for future videos, goodness, to see how that holds up. Definitely through Leo season, we're going to see a big pickup after Taurus season ends. Once we get towards Virgo and Libra, we might start to see the tapering down to another period of slowness and calmness as we get to Scorpio season. In the meantime, I have some cards for you, as promised. First time in a while. So we'll start with Taurus, because that's where the sun is. And for Taurus suns, you have, very appropriately, the Six of Wands, the card of victory. So again, like I say, this is energy that's native to you. It's energy you're used to. It's a feeling that it lives in you. And so to have this energy around for a while indicates a period where projects move forward, things get done, just because this is energy that you know how to work with. So pick it up and take it. All 12 signs should embrace the bull, by which I mean, strap on the harness and start pulling the plow. But because Taurus Sun, you already live in this energy natively, it's going to be much easier for you to find the trace and dig in. Speaking of Gemini and speed, we have the Eight of Wands for forward movement. And with that card, Gemini, it seems to me that you are going to have at once it seems like you're going to have much less of a slower Taurus season than the rest of us, but you also prefer it that way. You are, after all, ruled by Mercury, and he's, to my way of thinking, much more at home for you than he is for the other sign Mercury is held to rule, which is Virgo. Earth sign, and even though it's mutable, it's a weird place for Mercury. It's a strange rulership. Personally, I ascribe it to a different celestial body, but there's a forthcoming video where I talk about my approaches to astrology, where we can really dig into what's going on with Mercury. However, all of that is a tangent. You will not slow down as much as the rest of us, Gemini, and you like it better that way anyway. Just don't put the cart before the horse, as long as we're sticking to agricultural metaphors. For Cancer, we have Death. Now, I know this can be a scary card, especially now because of everything that's going on, but remember that death does not always mean literal death. Most of the time, it's metaphorical. So if you're a Cancer sun, I would not worry too much. However, where you're going to be leaning, and should, I think, lean a lot more into the energy of the new moon conjunct Uranus. The moon only conjuncts Uranus once a month, and so for it to be a new moon conjunct Uranus this happens very, very infrequently. Like maybe once a year, if that. So lean into this energy of change. Lean into this, and it's personal. We're dealing with the moon. It's internal. So lean into those personal changes. Lean into where things are growing in a direction that you didn't expect, or maybe the plant that's flowering isn't the one whose seeds you thought you put down. Coming to Leo, we have a lot of wands in these draws so far. We have the Three of Wands for Leo. And you've got your eyes fixed on a distant horizon. This is a good thing. Your natal sun is square to the current sun, because Leo and Taurus are both fixed signs. So this is going to seem, Leo, like a little bit of a struggle for you. You're going to have some difficulty in really, like I say, buckling down and getting the work done. But having your eyes fixed on the far end of the field, again, I'm sticking to that analogy of the plow, isn't a bad thing, but you have to challenge yourself to bring your eyes a little bit further in. It's all well and good to dream of the end result you expect your hard work to give you. That is particularly apropos given the sextile the sun made to Neptune as it moved into Taurus. But do not miss the trees for the forest. It is okay to be focused on the big picture, but you have to bring yourself back to the detail work. For Virgo, we have the Empress. Very creative period in your life, Virgo. Lots of generative, people call this feminine energy. But something is growing for you. Things are showing fruit. This is going to be a very productive season for you. And that's also as it should be, because this is your fellow Earth sign. The sun is trying your natal sun. This is going to be a very good time for you. I would do what you can to embrace it, and projects that have sat on the back burner maybe for, the last week or two of Aries season that you got started earlier in the month, I would pick those up. I would get back to work on those. They will definitely start to show flower as Taurus season wears on. Next, we have Libra, and we have the Seven of Cups. And for you, what I'm getting, Libra, is that the slowdown comes at a really appropriate time. You are, or feel, you either are or you feel like you're faced with so many options that you kind of have analysis paralysis. There are so many choices you don't know which to choose. Some will bear more fruit than others, but it really doesn't feel to me. The feeling being from this card is not that there's one right decision in particular. Most of the decisions are good, some are bad, but the important thing is to make the choice. However, I also get the feeling that you don't have to make it right away. Taurus season is a month. That can be a pretty long time for decision making. If nothing else, it affords you a few weeks to think about which of your many options you want to pursue. It may even be, for some of you, that those options start to whittle themselves down towards the better or more impactful choices as Taurus season wears on. Next, we come to Scorpio, and we have the Five of Cups. This is your opposition season, and the card very clearly indicates that. But it's have and have not, Scorpio, are as much as anything else mindsets. And this is, I like to think of the Five of Cups as the crying over spilled milk card. You can be upset about the things that you don't have or that you've lost, but it makes more practical sense to focus on what's left and what you can still do. To put it another way, what's behind you is behind you. You can't go back and change the past, but you can always use the present to make the future better. And with a slower pace and the chance to have clearer eyes, you can do something about making the Five of Cups less of the sorrowful card that it appears to be. For Sagittarius, we have the Queen of Wands. And I like this card for you, Sagittarius. There's a sense of having a mastership over one's own energy. Embracing a little bit of the energy of your fiery sister, Leo. You're very in command of your energy and your power and your will. Which is a good thing as we get in this place, like I say, where what is needed is hard work. So you already have a sense of how to wield the weapon that is your energy, or the tool that is your energy, and now is the chance for you to use it to get work done. But you grasp it firmly, and this is a good thing. Now you need to use it, which is the challenge. For Capricorn, we have the Seven of Swords. This is the trickery card or the deceit card. Or at least that's how I typically read it. And we're back around to Earth signs. The last Earth sign we'll do a draw for in this reading. And so this is about something coming right. The feeling you get from this card is more that the Seven of Swords is not what's ahead, but what you're leaving behind you in Aries. Uniquely, kind of, among the cards we've drawn so far. Your a situation is being set to rights in which you either were deceived or deceived yourself in some relevant way. Something that was taken from you is being given back. Kind of hard to get a real handle on the energy that's coming off of the Seven of Swords this time, but I really get the feeling that it's about rightness, about righting the ship, about restoring the way things are supposed to be versus the way that they have been. Um, Again, like I said, astrologist participant, my advice to you is to lean into this feeling where it feels like something is coming back to you that either uh, you took from yourself or was taken from you by. It feels more like circumstances. Either it was self-imposed or circumstances. I don't get the feeling that this was like the active work of another person, malicious or otherwise. So do with that information what you will, Capricorn. For Aquarius, we have the Ace of Cups. Some new emotional venture is indicated by this card for you, Aquarius. And with the sun being in Taurus, that's a good thing, even though it's square to you, because one of the things about the Taurus sun is while the sun is in Taurus, the kind of collective energy naturally is a little bit more oriented towards things that look good, things that taste good, things that feel good. Um, there may be some new romantic interest coming your way. That'll vary here and there depending on the individual makeup of every single person whose sun is an Aries or Aquarius, excuse me. But definitely something new on the emotional front. New friendships, new partnerships, maybe new romantic interests. Um, Maybe just new additions to the family from outside yourself. But uh, definitely something brewing on the emotional front in a time when reveling in those connections is a good thing. And especially because of the current COVID-19 crisis, something we should all be taking a little more time to do. You're just going to get a little bit more out of that than everybody else who engages in Aquarius. For Pisces, the Five of Pentacles. It seems to me, Pisces, that the feeling I'm getting from this card is that there is a light coming through the window. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. It seems to me, based on what I'm getting from the card, that Aries season was not particularly kind to you, Pisces, and that's not entirely to be unexpected. Mutable water is about as far from cardinal fire as it gets, despite the fact that the signs are right next to each other. But it was a rough Aries season for you, even more so than everybody else. And again, we can talk about the emotionality of Pisces and the reasons in the real world why that might be, but the fact of the matter is that you had a rough time. Now the sun is going to be moving through Taurus, which will be sextile to your natal sun, and things will go much, much more smoothly on that front. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Relief is coming. Peace is coming. Um, so find it, look for it, see the opportunity, and walk towards it. The only way out of the snowstorm is to follow the light and find the door. And last but certainly not least, although it is a place we hate to be, Aries suns have the Emperor, our own card. And like my instinct is just to say that Taurus season is the natural culmination of what we as Aries suns were able to get done during our own season. Um, there's just a sense of being in command and being in charge and getting things done. Um, but it's different to the Empress, right? Where the Empress is bringing something out from you in the way that the thing is fully formed or mostly fully formed when you bring it out. The act of bringing out the energy that you have, Aries, will be the thing that fully forms whatever gets done. It's not generative, it's projective with the Emperor. It brings it forward. And in a way, that's kind of, it feels like to me what we're going to get to do, fellow Aries suns, is sort of bring Aries season into Taurus season. Now that we have a chance to slow down and actually do things, we might be able to get quite a lot of work done. This is the worst time for hiccups. I apologize. However, that does bring the video to conclusion. I hope this is helpful to you. Makes for a good forecast for your Taurus season. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Find me on Patreon. And as always, I will see you next time. Be safe and be kind to one another.